to the High Tide Chat. My name is Jack Couch.
with sports writer Adam Brown. Today we're going to look at just the week one matchups this weekend. As today is Friday, we had several games go on last night, and we go into Saturday with football officially here. Last week we got a good appetizer of what was going on, and now we get the full gamut of football through Sunday night we as we have uh, Florida State and LSU play before Clemson and Duke play on Monday.
Yeah, that's a Sunday night game, right? The
Right.
LSU Florida State. Yeah, I'm pumped about that one.
Yeah, that one's actually in. Is it in Orlando?
Yes, it is.
Oh wow. Okay. So
No, it's gonna be a
Camping World Stadium.
yeah,
No,
it's
not
gonna
a
be an
stadium.
interesting.
We played there in 16 against
Yeah,
them. So,
it's one of those. That's one of those games I'm really looking forward to. I
uh,
like how you mentioned the biggest game first.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I feel like either way, whichever team wins that essentially gets into playoffs.
well, I mean, is it one of those
This is a playoff game,
situations to
first week.
where this game is bigger than next week's game, but
Oh
Alabama
yeah,
versus Texas?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, seriously, that makes sense.
yes.
But
Yeah, you're right now. I mean, you have a number 8 versus number 5, week one. This essentially is a playoff game.
right, it
I
is.
mean, Florida State, I think, can run the gambit for sure for the ACC. On
Oh
top of
yeah.
that, I think LSU could run the gambit for the SEC. This is
Well,
a playoff position spot, week one. I mean,
well,
that's why I'm so excited.
I think the loss might hurt Florida State more than it does LSU.
Agreed, because Florida State doesn't have the schedule that LSU does every year.
Mm-mm.
Same like Ole Miss. I mean, it's just LSU going in. If they lose to Florida State, and it's the only team they lose to, and they win out in the SEC,
Mm-hmm.
that means they beat Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, Florida. I mean, you just go down the line. A&M, almost every ranked team. And I think they play Tennessee out of on their Eastern too, so they play every ranked team.
Right, and I mean I think it's going to be year two. Year two in Brian Kelly's system has always been a good year for him,
Yeah,
and
historically, yes.
historically it has. And I think it's just going to be a game in which you see Florida State just go against a dominant SEC caliber team, and it's going to be close. It's going to be high scoring. But
Oh, it's a high scoring game for sure.
I think LSU is going to be that team that just takes over, and that's how the game ends.
Yeah, well, I could see that. So right now they got the predictor at LSU 65%, Florida State 35%, with an over under of 56.5. LSU's favored by 2 points too, so it's really I think it's anybody's game at that point.
Oh yeah,
But you look down the line, you look at LSU. The only two teams they've lost to really is Georgia and A&M in the past. Last season they lost 3. In the past 10 games last season, I mean they only lost to Georgia A&M. Then they
right.
lost to FSU as well.
Yeah. So
So I mean, you're playing. This is a rivalry match in the making right here. Because I tell you what, losing your first game as a head coach at LSU never goes over pretty well.
no.
And now this is a statement that he has to come back and revitalize his demeanor going into his second season, essentially.
Right. And LSU has a bunch of returning players coming back this year, to where it's going to be very interesting to see how they
They're just going to be
respond.
dominant.
Right.
LSU's going to be dominant. I think FSU has a very good team this year. However, their wide receivers are looking subpar comparatively for FSU's standards.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I think same things about their cornerbacks. I think they just have no deep threats on either side of the ball. To either, to help with deep threats or to actually go deep. So I think Florida State's going to be driving it down the field, run by run, powering it down. And then you're going to have a little bounce outside that's going to go for 50 yards in the second inning, or the inning,
Yeah.
second quarter.
Okay,
You tell I'm
somebody,
in baseball mindset.
yeah, somebody's still in baseball mindset. But
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
switching back over. I think that game's gonna be great. I'm really pumped. That's the big game of the weekend. Everybody's like, "Oh, Clemson Duke. Clemson's gonna beat them by 20. I mean, 21 points. It's not gonna be close."
I
You
agree.
have,
I just don't see that being a close game for them at all. I
I
mean,
don't.
I mean, I,
Do you? We'll save Ole Miss for last.
yeah,
I don't think it's gonna be a close game at all. I think it's gonna be crusher.
no, I think we'll get to this last, but I think the Ole Miss game is going to be a situation of where it might be close in the first quarter and a
It's
half,
yeah,
but then Ole Miss will take over, and that's all. That's all she wrote.
yeah. I agree. I agree. And we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah,
We got back up. All right. So we have Tulane going into South Alabama. Tulane is favored by 7 points against South Alabama.
you're gonna call me crazy, but I like South Alabama here.
That's what I'm thinking. I hate to say it, but somebody else is thinking that too. Tulane isn't favored by a full touchdown, and they're projected to beat us next week.
Right.
That's crazy to me. They're number 24 in the nation. This is South Alabama.
Yep.
South Alabama's record last year was nothing. I mean, somebody's thinking that something's going to happen to Tulane after they lost all these players.
Yeah.
Now, do I expect Tulane to lose? No, I do not. I think that they're going to win. I think that they're going to come into us very strong, with both of us being 1-0.
Yeah.
But still, I think that's going to be a closer game than they want to be. And this is South Alabama. If you could name a player on South Alabama, I could give you my bank account right now because I know I cannot.
I can
Now,
name.
so
I
I'm just
can name
saying,
the head
that's
coach.
something. That's a game to watch. It's an 8 o'clock game Saturday night.
Yeah.
Tulane's only favored right now 6.5. I think that's It's a rough statement.
And do you think it's going to be one of those situations where it comes down as the day progresses?
I'm debating on it. I see the lowest I could see it going is 5.5.
Well, let's
However,
see it going to 5.
I think it's going to go up tomorrow. I think it's going to go up to 8.5 tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
People are going to look at that and be like, Tulane's going to beat they're going to beat Alabama.
Right.
We're going to cut that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to beat Alabama. Or South Alabama. Let's start over so I can just cut all of that out.
Okay.
My rambling. Okay. Yeah, South Alabama is definitely going to, give Tulane a run for their money. However, it's Tulane's going to beat them. This is a team that's not even close to it. I think Tulane's going to run the docket, and it's going to be no problem.
Yeah.
If you think differently, you quote me, but I don't think that they're going to cover. I don't think South Alabama's going to cover. This is a situation where people are going to be like, this is easy money. I'm going to take the spread. I'm going to let it roll.
But is it one of those situations to where we look at Tulane and we look at the Rose and we look at the win over USC, and that win is just put up so high that we can't get past what Tulane did prior to that?
No. I get where you're at. However, Tulane is South Alabama. Let's be very clear. This is a team.
Okay. While we're on this, let's do this.
Okay.
The SEC. What conference would you say is comparatively like the SEC in the group of 5?
In the group of 5?
Yeah.
Would
you not say the SWAC?
SWAC is there too, but I also think the Sun Belt's up there as well.
Yeah.
I think that's Big Ten, Big Ten SEC. Both of those are back and forth. The SWAC's up there too.
Yeah.
But still,
yeah, exactly. The Sun Belt, which you have South Alabama, you have Troy, all those other teams over there that are dominant in that group of 5 level.
Yes. Yeah, it's Tulane versus South Alabama. You cannot tell me that South Alabama is going to be a number 24 in the nation. Tulane is ranked above half of the SEC.
I think they roll.
You think South Alabama could go into not A&M? Let's say Kentucky let's say Florida.
Okay,
I mean, South
do you think
Carolina.
South Alabama could roll into state and beat state?
No,
Okay,
no, I don't.
okay.
No, I don't. I think State's going to be better than anybody thinks that they're going to be this year.
Who's
The
their
more and
quarterback
more
gonna
I
be?
look at them, huh?
Who's their quarterback gonna be? Is it gonna be Will
It's going to
Rogers?
be Mike Wright.
He's
It's
gonna
going
be
to be Mike
Mike,
Wright.
right?
I am pretty sure. I have a very good feeling about
And not Will Rogers. That's
it, and
been
not
there
Will
since.
Rogers.
That's been there
I
since.
think so.
Okay.
Well, what are you going to? No offense, and you got to change a coach. This is a whole new program.
Yeah.
It's just because he's been there for 4 years doesn't mean that he knows his program back like the back of his hand anymore.
Well,
They changed entire game plans.
yeah, exactly.
So it's an open. It's the same thing. Like I mean, it's just an open up in the air, and you got to figure that out. It's like our defense this year. Yeah, you
Right.
might have guys that have been here for 4 years, but you have a transfer in who's got to learn a whole new scheme anyway. Whoever's
Exactly.
more athletic is going to win the position.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's kind of how I see it at State, and I think Mike Wright's going to come out with that position.
Um, I agree. I think it's gonna be one of those situations to where, you know, there's only a handful of games this weekend that the SEC are in that really have you wondering if it's going to be a contest. But State's not one of them. And
Yeah, State's not one. So, but anyway, Tulane's going to cover. I'd say they're going to cover 8.5.
okay,
Easy. That's no problem.
uh,
You can say you call it the ball. What you think?
I think it's way closer than that.
Okay, now let's go to the next game. Let me just prove a point even more. I'll
Okay.
look at North Carolina, South Carolina, Duke's Mayo.
This
Classic.
is the one that I can't wait for. But go ahead.
I'm pumped.
Go ahead.
You're saying that South Carolina, who I think is going to beat North Carolina, number 21 in the nation,
Oh,
South Carolina would stomp.
I think Spencer Rattler is going to go off, and you're
I
going to
think so
see a high scoring game to where South Carolina just runs all over UNC.
I agree. I'm on the same page. My problem is that you kept saying South Alabama is going to come on Tulane, and I think South Alabama couldn't hold a candle to South Alabama couldn't hold a candle to South Carolina
Oh
or North
no!
Carolina. Now, I do think that Tulane should be ranked off the season that they had last season, but I think that Tulane would also get smoked by one of those teams.
Right.
It's just, I don't think that that's really a competition. Now, this game, let's go back. North Carolina, South Carolina. I had to prove my point for a second.
And
I think Spencer Rattler's been all over this. I love Beamer Ball. They're really good at what they do. North Carolina is not looking on the up and up this year. They have a couple people returning, but nothing, super standoutish. It's a lot of normal people coming back, and that's good. But they also had a bunch of people leave too. They're number 21 because they're in the ACC, and they need some ACC teams in the top 25. So I really do think South Carolina comes and pulls it out, and I think that South Carolina is ranked number 24 next week.
let me oh on that subject, let me give you a hot take real quick.
All right, give me a hot take.
South Carolina finishes second in the East.
Behind Georgia,
Yeah.
I could get behind that for sure. I could easily get behind that. Tennessee's got a tough schedule coming up. On top of that, they have they have a quarterback who can sling the ball, but it's not accurate.
Right.
I just, it's a difficult spot. I think that you think of Tennessee last year. I'm putting Tennessee last year and South Carolina this year on par levels.
Okay.
Spencer Rattler has been bad throughout his entire career until he's come to South Carolina. He's really find his spot.
Right.
And I think that this year is going to be his show-off year if he's going to do anything or not. I think South Carolina is the only time that they can show up. Sorry, continue.
Oh yeah, this year is his year to make a point, to make the grade, to make it to the NFL.
Agreed. Yeah. And you look at Spencer Rattler, no offense, but he gives me a lot of Matt Corral vibes. Very good, very athletic quarterback. Didn't find his mojo till his last year in college. that's what I really think. And you look at speaking of Matt Corral just got picked up by the Panthers yesterday,
Yeah,
which is awesome.
congratulations to Matt.
Matt,
But speaking of former Rebels, I know we're jumping all over the place, but AJ Finley gets on the 53-man roster with the Chargers.
oh, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
almost like we've been
that was
calling this for
awesome.
months.
Congratulations to AJ. And
AJ
then,
deserves every single spot that he gets. He is one of the smartest players.
yes,
You can go back and listen to any of our podcasts. AJ Finley is one of my favorite players
right.
on the team ever.
Yep.
He deserves everything that comes to him. He's the man.
And
Now Malik Keith is looking to
Otis
get
Reese
picked up.
made the 53-man roster too, which
Yeah.
congratulations to him.
Oh yeah, all those guys are just really killing it. I'm
Yep.
very proud.
Now let's go up to the state of Tennessee real quick.
Okay, who do you want to touch? You gonna touch Memphis
No,
versus Bethune?
no. Let's go up to where Rocky Top is. Number 12
Okay.
Tennessee plays University of Virginia tomorrow at noon, 11 o'clock Central.
Yep. So that's a noon game. I think it's going to be very cut and dry, very simple, easy to see how this is going to go. Tennessee is favored 28 points.
Do you think that's
That's a
enough?
lot.
Do
Say that again?
you think that's enough? Because what I would say
I think
is,
it's enough. 4 touchdowns. I think 4 touchdowns is fair.
would
My
you,
thing is that I don't think that they're going to cover.
would you
No
lay 'em?
offense to Tennessee. Say that again.
Would you lay 'em? Would you lay 28 points?
No.
Yeah, no.
I would. I don't think. I think Virginia's going to cover.
I think Virginia makes a game out of it. I think
it's going to be a game in the first half. Tennessee rolls in their secondary in the fourth quarter, and then in the end, it's going to end up being like a 35 to 22 point game. So you have a 14-point spread
yeah,
or 13-point spread, but it's not 28 points. No
right.
offense to Tennessee, they're not the offensive powerhouse that they were last year.
No,
And so that's just the problem that you have moving forward, and that's Tennessee's still going to be a very, very good team. But
you don't have Henry Hooker back there.
yeah,
So
I mean, you don't have a lot of your people coming back. You just got
right.
you got some great quarterback coming up. However, it's just you got to see what you can prove. This is an opening game. Why would you ever risk it for 4 innings? We're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
4 quarters. I mean, you got 4 quarters. I'm not keeping him in there. It could be close in the first half. It could be close in the third quarter. In the end, I'm not playing him in the fourth quarter unless it's a tie game.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm taking him out. I'm taking him out early third quarter. And I'm saying, look,
You put in your secondary.
yeah,
They're an ACC school.
right.
However, this is a team that you know you can beat. You're number 12 in the nation. You don't have anything to prove this weekend.
No,
You take your lumps. You beat them by 21-7 in the first half.
right.
Then the second half, you start pulling and you let them come back. I don't see that they cover.
No,
There's no doubt in my mind that
No.
they cover.
not at
Now,
all.
talking about covers, have you looked at Georgia's?
Yeah,
It's like, I gotta find it. It's like
it's like
43
38
and
and
a
a
half.
half.
Yeah, it's something nuts. They're not covering. No offense. 38 points
Yeah,
is a lot of points.
it's
That's not a lot.
7 touchdowns.
You're playing
on a
University
hook.
of Tennessee Martin. However, that's a lot of points
Yeah.
for you to put up with your 4th string in.
Right.
I mean, Georgia probably gets 1 down to Carson Beck.
We got
Then you go to Brock Vandegrift, and
We
then you
got
go
10.
down to some of your freshmen. But, I mean, that's easy.
Okay, we got 10 minutes, so we're gonna have to go through this.
Yep.
Auburn, it's an easy win for Hugh Freeze, and I don't know, UMass kind of scares me. UMass looked good last weekend in week 0 against.
This is an opening game. I still think it's an easy win. It's all going to be fine.
But UMass looked decent against New Mexico State. Though.
Yeah, I agree.
But
UMass looks good,
yeah,
but you gotta think.
but it's not them playing
Guess
against
what the
HTC
cover
though.
is? I bet you won't guess it.
What's that?
Guess what the cover is for Auburn?
29.
Higher.
It can't be over 34.
It's 35.
Oh wow! Now,
So how do you feel about that now?
now,
Somebody way smarter than me is over at FanDuel going, yeah, 35 points seems about right.
yeah.
That's not going to happen. I'll tell you that. They're not scoring 35 points on UMass. However, I do think that it's going to be a blowout. I think they win by 24. We'll call
Oh
it at
no
that.
doubt.
All right, let's go to the next fun game.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
I gotta.
oh, you're good.
Yeah, it's Colorado TCU.
Okay, this is what I want to spend about a minute on or so. Um,
Good.
it's Deion Sanders' first time in a big time conference,
Oh yeah.
playing a big time team that made the national championship last year.
Yep, the national championship runner-up.
Okay, let's not look at the score of last year's national championship game. We all know what it was. We talked about it on different podcasts. But
Mhm.
when you look at them playing the national championship runner up, and if you look at the promos going into this game, nobody's saying anything about TCU. It's all about Deion Sanders.
TCU's gonna smack the floor with them.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. You're putting
It's not even gonna be close. I think TCU's gonna cover is what I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying.
You're putting way too much fire into the locker room at TCU with all
TCU has some vengeance coming back.
Oh,
Yes,
they
they
do.
don't have Max Duggan, but their quarterback, who I can't remember the name of, looks really good.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really easy. I think it's going to be an easy blowout game. I think TCU wins by 24 and a half.
I was gonna say 17, but yeah, 24 sounds
Do you
good.
think Colorado, yes, they got some transfer recruits. I don't think that he can coach a defense.
No.
There's nothing. So I think this is going to be a blowout game. I think TCU has
Do you
made some
think
very
it's a
big
trap?
improvements on defense. I mean, look at Michigan. Or, look at what TCU. Yes, you went against Georgia and you got blown
Yeah.
out. However, you look at Michigan and you go, yeah, that team was really good. TCU almost shut them down.
Yeah.
I think that Colorado doesn't hold a candle to Michigan by any means. I think they lost one defensive player.
Does Colorado win more than 2 games this year?
Yes, they win 3.
So is that the number they had last year?
Yes, it is.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it is. They win both of their 2 out of conference games, and they win against Stanford.
Okay. Yeah.
That's easy. That's my easy go through, no problem.
Who is now going to be a member of the ACC?
Yeah, congrats to Stanford.
And Cal and SMU.
Yeah. And then you have Notre Dame, who has to make a decision pretty soon.
Notre Dame does, and Notre Dame will. They're going to the Big Ten. It's just a matter of when.
I don't know. I don't know about that one now. Have you seen the ACC's new deal that they're about to work out?
No.
It's going to be on par with Big Ten and SEC money.
Wow. What, 19 teams?
Yeah. It would be no. So it's 18 teams, including Notre Dame, from what I believe.
I'm not. Hold on. What are they at now? 16?
Right now they're at
14.
No. Yeah, they're at no. Yeah. They're at 14 now.
Okay.
I believe.
So
you add the 3, and then Notre Dame's the 18th.
Okay. So okay. That
But
would be
the money that
interesting.
they're reworking, it looks like it's going to be like 50 to 60 million.
That'd be right there with the big boys, and then they jump to Big 12.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
They jumped to Big 12. That's why this is a big deal. And also, you got to think Stanford. Those are teams that are not the best at football, but they are top in every other sport.
Right.
And that's why you want the rights of those teams, because it's easy. It makes life so much easier.
No doubt. All right, man. We got about 4 minutes before the Zoom ends, so let's hop into the game happening here, right behind us on campus. Um, with Ole Miss hosting Mercer. I mean, it's one of those games where Lane Kiffin's in his fourth year at Ole Miss. You got Judkins coming back, who in his sophomore season is considered one of the top ones in the Heisman race. And then you have Dart.
Number one non-quarterback.
Basically, it's just going to be one of those games to where you see Ole Miss just like maybe have trouble out of the gate for like a quarter on the
Okay.
defense,
Yeah.
but just to play together for the first time with all the new pieces. But offensively, I think you're going to see just a offensive display of points.
Yeah, I think that Ole Miss is just going to be a dominant force this game offensively. I think that, Quinshall Judkins, leading non-quarterback in the Heisman race, is going to run for 200, 300 yards. I think, you go across the board, you look at both our quarterbacks, that's the big ticket. We'll come back to that. I think our defense is going to step up. We have to, figure out our whole defense. I think that they're going to score on us a few times just
Yeah,
because we got to figure this out. But besides that, I think that our defense is going to step up, be awesome and just crush. Besides that, I mean, it's just figuring everything out from there.
but I just
I think
am
the big
kind of
figuring out is the quarterback.
I'm just kind of wondering about how good this defense is going to look under Pete Golding now that we have him over here from Alabama and the talent that he has helped bring in recruiting wise, and the number of players who want to come play for us now.
I think Pete Golding's just going to be the man. I mean, you don't coach at Alabama. You're not a coordinator at Alabama because you're bad at the game. I mean,
No,
just because he wasn't up to Nick Saban's standards and Nick Saban had some bad recruiting years doesn't mean that he's going to be bad with us. I think he's going to come in. I think he's going to show us what he's got. We're not going to have a three down front, which is going to be the best thing ever. And then on top of that, I mean, we're just going from there and working it all out. I'm not super worried. I'm really excited to see how our defense performs for sure.
yeah,
That's going to be it's going to be a very interesting game to say the least. But yeah, I'm really pumped. I'm really excited, and I'm ready to see what they do.
but
Let's.
yeah,
Do you want to talk about the big ticket item?
yeah,
You want to go first?
let's go there. Uh, yeah, one or two when we kick off. Jackson Dart's gonna be the guy who takes first snap.
Oh, I think so for sure. But I
I
think
think
Jackson Dart's not going to start this year.
yeah,
I think that Jackson Dart. I'm throwing it all on the table. I think Jackson Dart doesn't have a very good eye for the defensive capabilities of high level teams in the SEC. I think on top of that, he's not as mobile and he doesn't have as much as experience. And I think he's a great quarterback. He just on our team this year, you're looking at the quarterbacks around him, and you go, yeah, if Walker Howard was your age, he'd be starting out over both of y'all because he just has the eye, he has the mobility and all that. But you look at Spencer. Spencer's coming here. You got to think that he knew that he was going to be able to beat out Dart if he's transferring schools from a starting D1 school to a starting D1 school.
who
I think he's got the eye. He has the mobility. On top of that, he has a longer range ball. On top of that, he's even more accurate. Dart just cannot prove to me that he can perform under a stressful situation. And that's where he loses a lot of points for me. Even like in the Grove Bowl, he just wasn't able to perform with the defense and he couldn't see over the line. And they're the same height, and you argue about that all the time. He just doesn't have the eye for a high level defense. And that's
do,
all there is to it. And
do
I
you
hate to say
think
it because I
it's
really like him.
oh I do too. Do you think
But
it's
that's
one of
just
those
my honest.
situations to where Dart is just coming into a situation to where he knows the offense more than Spencer does at this point? And Spencer was coming off of an injury, recovering from injury in spring, and that's why we might see a somewhat of a competition uh, tomorrow and going into Tulane?
I think there's going to be a competition across the board. To be honest, I think that both of these are great quarterbacks. That's what I see with Dart. That's honestly all that I really see. If I had something really serious to say, I'd say it. I think both of them would be a great starting quarterback to have on our team. No worries on either side. I mean, both of them have the momentum, the tenacity. On top of that, just being able to be the man on campus. We saw that with Dart last year, and we saw that with Spencer's done it for forever. So you're
Right.
just like, oh yeah. So
So,
both of these guys could definitely be the guy. It's just more of who do you think is going to start this year and who's going to be the man. And that's what we're going to see this next game. And I'm really excited to see how we play. I really do think Sanders, as much as I love Dart, I think Sanders has just got he's got the jive. He's got like the whole scenario around him of I'm the man. He gives me Matt Corral vibes. He gives me Lane Kiffin vibes. He gives me, Baker Mayfield, the
right.
swagger. Jackson Dart, as cool and collected as he is, he doesn't fit well in this offense. And I just don't see him, performing at the optimal level to be an Ole Miss quarterback anymore.
So,
And I could be so proven wrong. And if I am all good for it because that means that Jackson Dart is better than how good I think Sanders is.
there you go.
And that's what.
So, at what point do you see Lane saying, "Hey, look, I have to name a starter"? Because this week earlier,
After this game, it's for Tulane. I mean, Tulane's our first big rival. As bad as I think they're going to be, I do think that he has to name a starter and call the ball. If you don't call the ball before your your first top 25 team games, that means that we have more problems on the team than I'd like to admit.
so you don't think we go into Georgia Tech playing a two quarterback system?
No, not a shot in my mind. You choose your quarterback, and Georgia Tech's a proving ground. And if they don't prove during Tech, then guess what? You're rolling out you roll out the other quarterback for Alabama or whoever you think is more competent. I really do think that Tulane's a proving ground. You name a quarterback, if they don't perform, and guess what? You lose your spot. And the next quarterback tries, and then guess what? You have two very good teams. I think Tech's going to be better than anybody says they're going to be. Just side note.
Yeah,
But you have Tulane and Tech I put on the same level of athleticness, ability, coaching across the board. Both of those are great teams. And I think that in the end, you're going to have an equal playing field. So if you go into Tulane, you choose who you think is going to start all season. And you go, yeah, this is your time to prove it to me. And if they don't do that, other quarterback goes into Tech, they see how they do, and you make a game time decision for Alabama. But if you
I
don't
think
have two quarterbacks going into Tulane, there's going to be more trouble than you could ever know.
I think you're right there. I think it's one of those situations to where if you play a two quarterback system in Tulane, you're sitting there telling people that, hey, look, we're gonna play two quarterbacks, but if one of y'all mess up, I'm gonna bring somebody else in. You're always gonna have that situation of where people are gonna try to pull a just look over their shoulder and not mess up during games where you can't be worried about, hey, am I coming out this next play or this next series or so forth.
Yeah, you have to be a starter for a game. There is no I'm going to get pulled out of this game if I'm not doing good. It's you're going down with the ship, and then you're
Right.
not going to start for the rest of the season. That's kind of the way that I see it. Because if you iron sharpens iron, that's the quotation of Ole Miss this year is iron sharpens iron. We have all the iron in the tool sheds, and you're going to be the guy that's going to either be him or you're not. You're going to ride the bench, and that's how it should be. And Lane has to make this tough decision of who his quarterback's going to be. It doesn't matter about publicity and who's this and who's that. And Lane's a better, offensive mind than I am. Let's be very honest. But in the end, I think that telling a quarterback being like, "This is your ship. If you screw this up, then you're going down with the ship, and that's just you're the captain. You have to take one for the team, and then guess what? You're not starting the next week. You're going to take that. You're taking the loss, and you're not going to start on this team. We're going to try the next quarterback. And worst comes to worst, we put Howard in there, or not. Yeah, You
Yeah.
put Howard in there, and you're going to just let him go wild, and you give him a full year of preparation before next year.
Do you think
I
it's a
mean,
situation of where we ever see Austin Simmons take the field this year?
yeah, absolutely,
You bet.
absolutely. I think in the Mercer game, we'll definitely see him. I think that him and Walker are going to be on the exact same, playing field.
Yeah.
I think that he's a unbelievable quarterback, but he is a true freshman. And then on top of that, you have a bunch of quarterbacks above him. He's a
Mhm.
fourth string quarterback on an SEC team who's on the up and up and has been ranked in the top 25 to start the season for the past 6 years.
He was committed to Florida and then decided
Switched,
to
yeah.
come here and skip 2 years of high school in the process.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
he's 17
this
years
is
old.
this is a guy that's young. I mean, we're gonna let him out. We're gonna let him, have the proving grounds, hand off some balls across the board. Even if we're blowing out an SEC team, I think that he gets in just to get some reps. But I really do think that it's, Walker's spot to lose next year. And that's getting into a whole
Yeah,
different subject.
I totally agree. But is it one of those situations for Austin? Do you play him up to 4 games and then do you just kind of sit him so he doesn't lose a year?
Yeah, no, no, no. You play him for 4 games and then you let him and you sit him. I am shocked that we didn't gray shirt him.
Yeah.
I am shocked that we didn't gray. I mean, for people that don't know, gray shirting is a term that is used in SEC play when you don't let a player enroll in your college until the spring semester, but they're still allowed to go to practice because they're not obligational against any board. And
Right.
essentially, they come in as an analysis kind of quarterback where you can have a proving ground. You can look at Jess Sutherland for
Yeah.
UGA came for a while, and he was or he taught Stetson Bennett and Carson Beck and all these. He played at Stanford for a few years. He was technically gray shirted, wasn't in school, but he's allowed to practice, and you get to move forward. But again, going back, I'm shocked that we didn't gray shirt him. That was the best game plan that we could do. Then after Walker goes out, junior or senior year, we have a 2 year, we have a true sophomore quarterback, or probably a true sophomore quarterback, or a redshirt freshman quarterback come in right after him. The fact that we didn't gray shirt him means that he must be that good, and I'm excited to see what he can do. But I still don't think he's going to be Walker.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Anyway,
the same way. I bet.
anyway, that
But,
rant.
yeah, but, yeah, it's just, I think it's one of those situations where you see Walker be the number 2 guy this year in preparation for next year being the number 1 guy.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Both of them are going to get as redshirted as you can be. I mean, you're going to see Walker come in for a few games. You're
Yeah,
going to really see it's really between Dart and Sanders at this point. And that's just, I'm excited to see who comes on top. I
yeah.
really do think it's going to be Sanders. Sanders has a few flaws in my mind that he goes for the long ball more than he likes to, but that's what Lane likes anyway.
I mean,
He doesn't like to stay in the pocket. He doesn't like to be protected. He wants to run. He wants
yeah,
to get hit. He doesn't. He gets
yeah.
knocked around a bit.
I
Same
mean,
problems that I saw with Matt Corral, but in the end, Lane Kiffin loves that kind of tenacity, and I think that he's going to be good for it.
Sanders is also one of those situational players that was the Big 12 Player of the Year a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, he's good. It's not like he's bad.
No, not at all.
Neither of these quarterbacks are bad at all.
No.
I think Dart just has. I think one of these quarterbacks is in the end going to be redshirted this year, and Sanders could be. He actually. I think never mind. I'm a liar. I think both of them have used a red shirt,
Yeah.
but still, I think one of them's just going to be losing a year, and it's just going to be trouble. And Sanders came in thinking that he can beat and move up in the world, and that's the interesting thing that we got to find out this Saturday. Because in the end, I don't have all the answers. I just have thoughts of where I think our team's at.
Okay, we'll end on this topic right here.
All right.
Looking at tomorrow's game. Uh, Besides the quarterbacks and punchlines, what position or player are you most interested in seeing how they perform?
Mm, That's not an easy question, and you had to put me on the spot.
Oh,
That's
it's
terrible.
not fun if I don't do that.
All right, you want to give your answer first while I come up with this answer?
Hudson
All
Wolf.
right, say that again.
I actually want to see what Hudson Wolf does.
Okay.
If he is back 100% healthy and plays well, I think you'll see us use him as a tight end one or Prescorn as a tight end one and vice versa to where the tight end game and the receiving portion of the game might be as dominant as it was several years ago again. So I'm very interested in that.
I think. Oh man, you really had to put me on the spot. I think Chris Graves Jr. cornerback. I think that's who I'm excited to see play.
Okay.
Transfer. I mean, this guy is looks like the man. We haven't had a dominant quarterback in a long, or cornerback, excuse me, in a long time. This guy just looks amazing. Just a dominant force on the field. I think that he's going to eat up everything in the backfield. I'm very excited to see how he plays and how he's going to essentially take the leadership role on the team initially. And that might not be the case. That's fine, but I'm really pumped for him to go forward. I also really am excited for our tight end situation, as you keep saying. Our tight ends look stellar. I mean, you have Caden, you have Hudson Wolf, you have Michael Trigg. I mean, these guys look awesome. Across the board, I think that we're going to have a tight end heavy offense. Especially blocking wise, we're going to be able to get Quinshawn the ball and get him to run up the field. I'm really excited for all of that. Yeah, definitely defensive wise, I'm very excited. Ulysses Bennett the fourth
Oh yeah.
is my last player I want to talk about. This is the new, essentially, our bounce out running back. Our Deshaun Jackson is
Uh,
just going to be an animal. I
okay.
think that he's going to come in this. I mean, I think it's going to be unbelievable how good he is.
Do you think Bentley is the next Quintron? Another 1,000 yard back who well, I'm not
Now, if we have 2,000-yard backs,
yeah.
I think we're going to have a pretty good season. But
I
I think
I
if we're
mean,
more looking at,
technically, we led the SEC or second. I think it was led in
we led.
rushing
Yeah, we
per
did.
game, and I mean, having two bats in the stable who can go over 1,000 yards
Yeah.
and be fresh, that's going to be a stout backfield for offense
Oh yeah.
behind a talented offensive line who has depth this year.
Yeah, and you look at Ulysses, and he just looks so good. 200 pounds, 6 foot tall. I think he's gonna, as much as Judkins is our, down Nick Chubb run through the middle. I think Ulysses is gonna be our Zach Evans, our Sony Michelle. I mean, he's gonna bounce outside, and he's gonna be able to make plays. He's gonna be our catching running back. He's gonna be in our deep ball packages. I see Quinshawn being our first down, second down guy, and Ulysses being our third, fourth down guy.
Right.
It's very simple, cut and dry. I think that he's going to be a stud. I'm really excited to see what he does this weekend.
Okay. So right. So right now, uh, I say that the SEC this weekend goes for the rest of the weekend might go undefeated outside of
Florida.
Florida.
And
Who got demolished last night. But no,
then maybe LSU. And that's it.
maybe LSU.
I
It's
think
gonna
LSU is going to wipe the floor, but that's the only other team I can see even coming close to losing.
Is it weird that Vandy is going to be 2-0 after tomorrow?
No, they're moving up in the world. This is all good.
Okay.
We're cheering for Vandy now. I mean, we're Vandy fans.
Yes.
It's all good. I'm excited for Vandy to move up in the world. Their projected was 4 this year. It's been 3 for the past 25. I'm very excited to see what they can do. I hope they beat A&M again. Like, Vandy's moving up, and that's all you got to think about is that they're putting their money where their mouth is now and
And
figuring out,
they're
hey,
actually putting money
everybody in the
toward.
SEC is
They're
good at
actually putting
football.
money
I'm tired of
towards
losing.
football. So I mean, there
Yeah,
you go. It's not just going to
somebody
baseball.
decided, hey, I'm sick of losing. I'm going to donate $1 million to Vandy football.
Yeah.
Now, guess what? They're doing better than they were.
Yep. But
It's one of those things. I'm really pumped, but in the end, I'm excited for Ole Miss this weekend. I'm excited
yeah,
for everybody to look. I'm excited to see how LSU does. And you'll definitely hear our commentary on how we think we played, who we expect to be rolling moving forward, and what we are excited about going on in the SEC.
yep. And everyone just enjoy the Labor Day weekend. Enjoy just 3 days of 3 days more of college football as we kick off the 2023 season, and we just yeah. Um, I think it's just gonna be a fun weekend to sit back, watch college football. I have some games after covering the Ole Miss game that I'm looking forward to watching. And yeah, I think it's just gonna be a good weekend.
I think it's gonna be a great weekend.
So
Y'all take it easy.
y'all take it easy, and we'll catch y'all next week.